All right, man. How you doing?
Doing good. What up, Tayib? Another show.
I'm all right, man. This is Housakicks again from Housakicks.com, and I'm here today. It's about 1:52, 2 p.m., and we're gonna talk sneakers today again. And I'm here with my friend Chris Byrne from RCBB, and I'm gonna let him introduce himself real quick.
All right. What's up, y'all? Y'all know it's Chris Burns. www.art-usa.com is the website. YouTube, Art, ARCHBYCCB. Check us out. Glad to be here doing the hangout again with Tayib, and ready to get into some more sneaker talk.
All right, man. So anyway, before I get into the question, I just want to give you a little pep talk. So I was talking on this website, this Facebook group. It's in Canada, and all the guys in there, they were buying like Adidas, the NMD or Nomad or whatever. And my son is in the picture. He's messing with me. All right, and then I got to the point. I'm like, all right, man. My question to them was, why are you all now just buying Adidas shoes? What makes you want to buy this kind of shoes now? Because like 2 weeks ago, all you was buying was Jordans and Nikes and all these other brands, and now you're into like Adidas. So that leads us into the question today. So the question is, do athletes and celebrities convince us into buying certain brands or certain shoes? Do you think like a guy like Kanye West or Michael Jordan or Steph Curry or anybody else make a fan or somebody that likes him want to buy a certain shoe because that particular person rock those shoes?
Yeah, definitely. We know that for a fact, that athletes and actors and entertainers convince people to buy stuff. So we know that for a fact. I mean, that's all this week on ESPN, they've been talking about how Steph Curry is worth $14 billion to Under Armour. $14 billion. So yeah, we know athletes sell shoes. So yeah, we know that's a fact. That's a fact.
Well, before we get into the whole talk, you know what? Why don't you tell our audience, what are some of the top selling brands today, 2016? Like, what do you think? What are the top selling brands right now?
All right, I got my board pushed back too far, so I can't write them up there. But you know what? I'll scoot the board up, and we can get into this. Push these sneakers back. But real quick, top selling brands, right?
Yes, sir.
Number one, as always, Nike / Jordan. All right, Nike / Jordan. Who do you think number two is?
Let me think about it, man. I know we kind of talked about that a little while ago. I say Skechers.
Number two is Skechers.
You gave me the answer before, so I'm not trying to act like I know it all, man.
Well, I guarantee you, everybody else out there was probably like trying to figure out what number two was. Number two is Skechers, believe it or not. All right. And here's an interesting thing about Skechers and the fact that Skechers is number two. A couple of years ago, the Boston Marathon is like one of the most important marathons in the world, right? So is New York Marathon. A couple of years ago, I think the Boston Marathon was won by a guy wearing a pair of shoes. His name was Meb, right? And Meb was wearing Skechers. He beat an Adidas-sponsored athlete. He beat a Nike-sponsored athlete, right? Now, you add in with that, a few years back, Kim Kardashian was wearing the shape-ups, and Joe Montana was wearing the shape-ups. And this put Skechers in a good position, man. And Skechers overtook the number three company, which is who?
Adidas?
Adidas. Now, Adidas is the oldest of the top three. All right? After Adidas, Under Armour kind of brings up the rear. Okay? So you got 3 performance-based shoe companies. But then you have somebody that's not considered a performance-based shoe company that's selling a lot of shoes. But more important, they're the number 2. And you just asked me if athletes and celebs get us to buy shoes. If that's the case, why is Skechers number 2?
Well, I guess that leads us into the next question. So are people buying these shoes because of the functions of the shoe, or are they just buying it because they are fans or the athlete and they want to look just like the athlete? So functions or fans, what is it? What do you think it is? Or is it both of them?
Function of fans. It's got to be both. I mean, when we sit here and we look at Skechers as number 2, you and me both, I can't tell you an NBA athlete or NFL athlete, other than, like I said, these retired Joe Montana, that wears Skechers. Now, the only reason I know about Meb is because I have a running shoe company. So that was really important to me to see big-time athletes wear a shoe and win a big-time marathon. So that was huge. But it's got to be both, because we know that Under Armour, no one cared when Brandon Jennings was wearing Under Armour, because Brandon Jennings wasn't a winner. But you got Steph Curry, and he's a winner, and now he's worth $14 billion to Under Armour, and Under Armour, I mean, and he's selling more shoes than LeBron. So some of it is function. Now you got, we name shoe companies, running shoe companies. Now I'll stick with performance and function. Astra, Newton, Innovate. Starts with an S. There's another one. There's about 10 different new running shoe companies. Hoka 11. And I'm probably sure anybody who's probably tuning in and listening, they probably never heard of any of those shoe companies.
I never heard of that.
Hoka 11, Astra, Innovate, like I said, Newton. Gosh, man, there's so many that I'll forget them every now and then. But when you talk about function, when it comes down to running, people buy sneakers because of function. So
as far as running shoes, you mean?
Yeah, running, definitely running shoes. But if you're talking basketball, I think it's just fans. I think it's fans, straight up. Straight up fans. Because if you look back at in the past, because I think you wanted to get into the history of the sneakers, right?
Yeah, let's get into the history. Tell our audience a little bit about how Nike broke into the market. What ways and how did they actually get into like the sneaker market where they have this monopoly now that they have? How did they get into it?
This name, Sonny Vaccaro. Everybody should know Sonny Vaccaro. He's the godfather of grassroots basketball, right? Sonny Vaccaro is legendary as the guy that started the top 10 camp, the ABCD camp, and in the 70s, what he did, Nike brought him in, and Nike gave him a budget, basically like gave him a duffel bag full of cash, right? And he went out and he signed a young coach who was at Iona at the time. That coach's name was Jim Valvano, right?
Now, what team was he coaching? What school?
Iona. Now, this is way back in the day. So I'm pretty sure it was Iona. I might be wrong. Let me double check it and look it up. But Jim Valvano was not at a big school. Right?
Yeah.
Not at a big school. But Sonny Vaccaro knew that Jim Valvano was going to be a big-time coach. He knew it. Jim Valvano ended up going to where? North Carolina State. The rest is kind of history. Well, from there, Jim Valvano, Sonny Vaccaro went on to sign a bunch of other college coaches. What they said is, well, we can't pay the players to wear the shoes in college. But if we can get the players in college, then when they become professionals, then we can transition them right into Nike. So Sonny Vaccaro went out there and he got all of these college coaches to put on Nikes. At the time, people were wearing Converse, right? Dr. J's or Puma, Clydes. They weren't wearing, or Adidas, Top 10, Forums. They weren't wearing Nike Blazers at all. Sonny Vaccaro did that. So when we look at the history of the sneaker game, it all starts with Sonny Vaccaro. All right? And he was a genius in that he said, make the players your messengers. So here's Sonny saying, make the players the messengers, and then the kids, everybody else is going to follow. And they did that. So Nike followed that, and Sonny Vaccaro led Nike to Michael Jordan. You had a Whiten and Kennedy, which is the ad company. They create the campaigns with Nike, and the rest is history. Nike becomes synonymous with athletes. So Nike is athletes, athletes are Nike. The best athletes wear Nike. And for the last 30 years, no company has been able to overtake Nike in that regard. Nike has had complete control. And that's really the history of function versus fans.
Right. Yeah.
Nike was a running shoe company from 1969 all the way. Well, Nike was born in 1971. But from 1968, 69, when Nike was getting founded, 65, 66, they had a thing called Athletics West. And actually, it wasn't Athletics West, but it was the Blue Ribbon Sports, right? And it was founded as a running company, and they were selling running shoes, which is why the waffle running shoe and all of that with, Bill Bowerman, all of this stuff is the history of Nike. Nike was a running shoe for the first 15 years of its life. It wasn't a basketball company. It wasn't a football company. And people tend to forget that. Nike slowly transitioned into all these things in the 80s. And then in the 90s, they kind of hit their stride when Michael Jordan became really a household name. And that's when Nike took off, because up until that, Reebok actually controlled the 80s because it was the fitness era and the exercise, jazzercise, and those little fluffy red, blue, and green Reebok shoes, right? Those were the biggest selling shoes in the 80s. So Reebok controlled the 80s more than Nike did. Nike actually went bankrupt, or almost went bankrupt, in 1986. They had to lay off a huge percentage of their company. People don't remember this.
I have no idea. I didn't know.
Yeah, everybody thinks like Nike's been this powerhouse all these years. It's not true. So you got Nike almost went bankrupt in the 80s. And you know who saved Nike? It wasn't Michael Jordan. It was Charles Barkley and Bo Jackson and cross-training. The Huarache, the Moab in 89, 90, 91. And then the Jordan kind of surged and he started winning those championships, and that kind of cemented Nike. And then the Fab Four, the Fab Five at Michigan, all of these things, it was like the perfect storm to make Nike better, right?
Everything, and I guess what's happening now with Under Armour is the same thing, because now that Steph Curry's putting them on the map, I mean, they've been on the map, but now he's like actually getting some exposure. And I'm telling you, man, I can't keep those shoes on shelves. They just sell quick, man.
Man, they sell fast. You get them, they pop. I know that's a fact, man. So that's kind of the history of it. When you look back at it and you think about it, I got one thing to add to that. To these dudes that are out here hyping Nike technology, all right? The best-selling Nike running shoe right now is the Nike Flyknit Racer. Tell me the Nike technology in that shoe. There isn't any.
No, man.
It's a piece of fabric that doesn't have any stitching. It's just Flyknit, and then it's a sole. And Nike charges $150 for that shoe, right? Then you have the Air Max with the big full and the technology and the fly wire and all of this stuff. And that shoe costs $40 more, $190. And then you have the older Air Maxes with the big air bubble and supposedly a good running shoe. No one runs in it anymore. And it only costs $110, but it's made out of leather and all of these quote unquote expensive materials. People are getting duped. When we look at history and function and fans, Dr. J jumped from the free throw line in a pair of Converse, right? In the 70s. In the 80s. Michael Jordan jumped from the free throw line Just like Larry Nance jumped from the free throw line in a pair of, I don't even remember, I think he had on a pair of Avias. I can't even remember. In the 90s, Brent Barry jumped from the free throw line. All of these decades, man, people are performing in these shoes and this footwear, but everybody's sitting around thinking that the technology or the function and all of this stuff is what makes Nike the best brand. If that's the case, tell me how is it that dudes were jumping from the free throw line 45 years ago in nothing shoes and they're still doing a jump from the free throw line? Is it the shoes? Ah, come on. You know, just historically, we talking history, you know, function or fans. You can be a fan, but let's keep it real. Are you really performing better because of your shoes?
Man, you can wear all the Jordans you want. If you garbage on the court, you're gonna be garbage on the court again, man. It's not about the shoe, man.
That's real talk. You're gonna garbage, you garbage. I mean, you can put
but you know what? It's funny because Michael Jordan started the whole thing with, like, you know, the Jordans, and now you have guys like Kanye West and Kim Kardashian, you said, and maybe Charles Barkley, Karl Malone, and now, like, in today's world and in the sneaker culture, who are the top guys that are actually influencing the sneakers that we wear?
You know what? I think you hit something when we were talking before we started recording. You said, what were you talking? You were talking about the NMDs, the Nomads, the Adidas Nomads.
Yeah.
Right? What were you saying about that?
All right, man, listen. I'm on this Facebook, and then all these dudes on there, they copying them. And every single one of them is like, man, these are the most comfortable shoes ever. You know, I love these shoes. And they give me all these Adidas stories. And I'm sitting there like, really? Y'all buying these shoes not because of the stuff that you're saying, but you buying it, it's all hype. You know, I mean, I didn't buy that. I'm like, man, I don't want to hear all that, man. Just tell me you bought it because Kanye West made the jump, so you just following the bandwagon. You know, don't give me that whole, well, it's comfortable. I mean, yeah, it might be comfortable, but I don't think that's the reason why you're buying them now, because you never really bought them like long ago. You want to be like a shoe expert, you know? That's the way I feel.
I gotta counter your argument, right? I gotta counter it. If it's Kanye West that's making them, why didn't people buy the Big Sean shoes?
Are they buying them or they're not buying them?
Are they buying them? I mean, I don't sell any Big Sean shoes. I go in the store, I still see them sitting on the rack.
Because first of all, the dude I don't even think he's that talented. You know, I'm not gonna talk about that. But I mean, he ain't really a big nobody. You know, so I don't think he really is into sneakers. So they don't see him as an icon. But Kanye West, remember, he was with Nike. So the whole thing of him leaving Nike and going to Adidas, he started a whole movement. So I guess his worshippers are like pretty much moving with him. Wherever he goes, he's taking them with him. You know,
right. Yeah. I guess it's if you say who's actually influencing sneaker culture, goes back to the original question: athletes and celebs. Kanye West, Michael Jordan, LeBron James, Steph Curry, Pharrell Williams, Kyrie Irving, Kevin Durant. But see, I can't think of any other entertainers that actually sell shoes other than Kanye West and Pharrell. When you look at Nike, Nike's got that shoe to Hustle Hart, Kevin Hart, right? Nobody's going to buy that shoe.
Because he's a comedian. So
comedian. But I mean, Nike is sticking to what they know. Nike's saying, all right, we're sport. We're athletes. When you go down the list of people that influence footwear, on Nike's side, Kevin Hart is the only one that's got a sneaker. But if you go over to the Adidas side, Snoop Dogg has a sneaker. Pharrell Williams has a sneaker. Kanye West has a sneaker. Big Sean has a sneaker. Gosh, who else, man? Missy Elliott has a sneaker. But to be fair, Adidas really lost their edge in the 70s, in the 80s. They lost their edge until an entertainer put Adidas back on the map. And who was that entertainer? Run DMC. So Adidas has always been kind of riding with these entertainers since the 80s. You know, so when we that is true. I mean, and then we can go back even further, because if, you know, everybody looks at Kobe Bryant and the warrior mentality and the black and yellow shoes, and they say what? Bruce Lee. But you know, like I know, when Bruce Lee was wearing the yellow and black, Enter the Dragon, Bruce Lee was wearing Adidas. So you had Adidas, you know, Bruce Lee was wearing Adidas. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar was wearing Adidas, who trained under Bruce Lee. So you got this kind of connective tissue in entertainment with Adidas that's always kind of been there. It's always been Adidas as the entertainment kind of sneaker athletic footwear brand.
So Nike. So in other words, Nike just want to stick with the athletes pretty much. They don't like the whole celebrities and all that, you know.
Yeah,
but the funny thing is, a lot of guys like Fabulous and dudes from New York, like big rappers, they're always rocking his Jordan. So they don't even need Nike. Don't even need to pay guys to like rep their stuff, because you got these dudes that are like.
What are you going to pay somebody for if they're going to wear it for free?
Exactly.
You know, so I mean, if being an athlete is being hyper masculine and strong, everybody wants to be seen as being strong and athletic, even if they aren't. So they're going to wear Nikes. Rappers want to be seen as strong, so they're going to wear Nikes, right?
Well, that's the truth, you know. But the thing is, to me, I just feel like now with guys like Under Armour, Nike's gonna have some tough competition, because a lot of the dudes that I see on the court, like I went and played yesterday, dude was wearing Under Armour. That's why he had on his feet, and there's more kids wearing them. So yeah, I'm glad to see that now. You know,
I do too, man. I'm glad to see it too. But you know, at the end of the day, athletes and celebrities convince us to buy stuff. We don't have our own minds.
Yeah,
you know,
man.
We talked about this a long time ago. We're not individuals. We don't have our own minds. We don't stand out on our own because we don't want to be ostracized or bullied or talked about. So athletes and celebrities dictate what we do, you know, whether we like it or not, you know. But at the end of the day, a shoe is a shoe is a shoe, and people can't. And I'm kind of deviating because I know we're getting ready to end this one. People can't sit up and tell me that it's the function of the shoe that makes me want to buy it. This shoe feels like this, blah, blah, blah. When at the end of the day, every footwear company, when you talk about performance, anybody can get out and run, right?
Yeah.
Doesn't matter who you are. Anybody can get out and run. So if we're talking about performance, what tends to be the best performance shoes now are shoes that are called neutral shoes, lightweight trainers that mimic the natural motion of the foot. In other words, every running shoe company has a shoe that doesn't have any technology. It's just your foot being protected with some EVA and then something over the top of your foot so you can keep running and use your natural foot. So athletes and celebs get us to wear stuff. Sneaker companies sit around and try to create all of this new technology every year. But on the whole, the only people that need something like a better performance shoe are guys that are running and jumping and cutting and doing things like that. And all they really need is an ankle brace and a pair of shoes and maybe a little bit of cushion.
Did you see the shoes Kevin Durant was wearing last night and 2 nights ago? Man, he has some shoes. They go all the way up to his knees, man. This dude that's funny. What's wrong with it, man?
That's marketing. That's marketing. That's all marketing, man.
Well, I don't think anybody's gonna buy those shoes, man, unless you want to look funny on the court. You get laughed at, man. What kind of? I mean, that's saying that just because you laughed at, you should wear them, but they look funny to me.
I don't think Nike has any intentions of actually selling that shoe What it's doing though, it's got me and you talking, and it's got the people talking about Kevin Durant shoes,
You know,
which are not selling that good this year.
You know what's funny? You know, I'm gonna talk about something today because I feel like all these companies, they're like copycat, man. Like Nike, the KD9, they look more like the Adidas Tabular to me. So I feel like they all just want to munch on, you know, their own like competitor stuff. So it's funny. The KD9s to me, they're gonna sell well, but I feel like Nike just went the cheap route. They just saw the Adidas and they said, let's make something that looks just like it so we can sell it. What do you think about it?
I think Nike does that all the time. I think Nike will see something that someone else is doing, and because Nike is so big and strong, they can do it before the other company. So what happens is you see something, and it's like PrimeNet. Adidas actually had PrimeNet ready before Flynet, but people think Flynet was first before PrimeNet, right? What happens? Certain designs, certain styles of shoes. Nike, man, is like the troll, dude. They the biggest troll. It's like that dude on the internet that comes to go to your website, and all he wants to do is go to your website and hate. That's like Nike. Nike's like a troll. They see something like the Yeezy. Kanye West leaves Nike, and what does Nike do? They create 3 or 4 different shoes with the same colors as Yeezy shoes. Why would you do that if the dude left your company? You see what I'm saying?
They don't care.
Yeah, they care. They care. What they're doing is trolling Kanye West. They like, all right, you want to sit here and leave our company? We're gonna make your colorways, everything that's associated with you, we're gonna make it dead.
But it's they're not selling.
It's not selling, but Nike doesn't care because Nike did what? They gave Kevin Hart a shoe deal.
Yeah.
And then they made a shoe called the Enter Trainer. Did you see that shoe?
No, I didn't see him.
The Enter Trainer. Look up Nike Enter Trainer, right?
I ain't even heard of it because that shoe was probably useless, man.
Dude, it looks like the Yeezy in the back. It's got the little ripples down the. Yeah, you can tell they're like, you know what? We're gonna take this Andre Agassi Soul unit and we're gonna put the design like the Yeezy on the back, and we're gonna put it out there as the Enter Trainer, just to troll Kanye West. So I mean, athletes and celebs convince us to buy shoes. Shoe companies know it. They're gonna keep on pushing these people in our face because we're sheep. We're gonna keep buying what the people tell us to buy because we can't speak and think for ourselves. And that's what the bottom line is, man. At the end of the day, I think it is what it is, man. But it's a good show, man. And it's 1:20. I think we've been at this for about 30 minutes.
All
right,
yeah.
I'm ready to chill, man, and get back to work.
All right.
Tell the people out there, hey, go to arch-usa.com. Go to YouTube, Art by CCB. Go to cbpublish.com. Go to all the websites. You can catch up with me. You can follow me. Pick up a pair of my shoes. Forget the Nikes and Adidas and the Under Armours. Get a pair of Arcs. They over there. I'll ship them to you. It's all good. If you get a pair and you write me or something like that, maybe I'll throw a free book inside of it. I don't know, but I'm taking care of the fans. I'm taking care of the people. I'm going to do good by the people now. So it's all about art. That's it. I'm done.
Support the locals, man. That's what I be telling people, man. When someone local is trying to help, give some support, because all of y'all just want so quick to buy all the Nike shoes, but then you see someone local doing something and you don't want to buy it just because he's local. Support your locals, man. That's the best way you can show appreciation. So yeah,
that's real, man. Because we do the same stuff.
I appreciate that, man. I'm sure they learned a lot today, man. That's a lot of things you know. So I appreciate it, man.
It's always a good show, man. I'm ready every Friday. Every Friday at what time? At
1 o'clock, 1:30, right in that same interval.
1:30 Eastern time, 12:30 Central time, and that's Pacific time. That's gonna be 10:30. That's early. People out there ain't gonna be checking us out there. Maybe we got to do this later at night or something.
I appreciate it, man. Thank you.
Oh, appreciate it. Peace, Tayib. Peace, everybody.